Good morning students, welcome back to class. We are doing chapter 5 of sociology and the name of the chapter is Pattern of Social Inequality and Exclusion. In today's session we will do state and non-state initiatives addressing caste and tribal discrimination. So let us start with our class. First of all, we talk about state initiative, that is constitutional provisions. After independence, the Indian government has made the following provisions to improve the lot of the Dalits and remove the condition that led to their discrimination, humiliation and exploitation. In that context, they bring some changes, that is they introduce provisions also, they do the reservations also, and they made some laws to for the betterment of Dalits and other castes. First of all is facility of reservation. In order to include the Dalits, weaker and deprived section into the mainstream of society, the government made the policy of reservation by which seats will be reserved for the members of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes in educational institutions and other fields. Representation in legislature. According to the constitution, they will be given representation and seats will be reserved for them in the parliament and state legislatures according to their population. Then come the reservation in government recruitment. The Indian government took a decision on 26 January 1950 that seats will be reserved for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in the post for which there is open competition, and the rule for age and education qualification will be relaxed. This has definitely brought about a change in the socio-economic status of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. The government reserves seats for the SCs and STs, and no one else can take those seats from the upper caste. They are reserved in educational institutions, jobs, parliament. They have a lot of provisions like age relaxation and low marks for selection. Apart from the reservation, many other laws have been passed to remove discrimination, exploitation and disabilities linked with caste. Now there are some other provisions, acts. First of all, Caste Disability Removal Act that come in 1850, and this act was passed long back to remove discrimination on the basis of caste or religion and to remove prohibition to enter public places. Then comes the Protection of Civil Right Act 1976, provision for civil punishment in the untouchability offences was made in November 1976. Anybody found guilty of this offence will be debarred from contesting election for parliament or state legislature. Then come the Constitution Amendment, that is 93rd Amendment Act 2005. This act was passed on 25th January 2005. It is related to education. It was passed to give reservation to backward classes in educational institutions. The Supreme Court had stayed this act for the time being. Thus, the central government and state government have passed various laws to stop atrocities on the scheduled caste and tribes from time to time. Yet, stray incidents of violence against the scheduled caste and tribes are reported in newspaper and on television channel, where they are killed in broad daylight. Their women are boycotted and they are made to face other kinds of humiliation. Now there are non-state initiatives that were the social movements. It is not possible to bring about social change by government efforts alone. It required great men to provide leadership of social movements and social and religious organizations. There have been many leaders who successfully led these movements and fought for justice and equal right for the deprived section of society. The Dalit community and also not been lagging behind in these efforts. Before independence, Jyotiba Phule, Ambedkar and Gandhiji played a significant role in this sphere. Many voluntary organizations also came up for the welfare of these scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, such as Harijan Sevak Sangh, that is from Delhi, Hind Sweeper Adim Jati Sevak Sangh, that is also from Delhi, etc. They all come up for the welfare. Now we talk about other backward classes, that is OBCs. Other backward classes have been placed in a separate category and not in the category of scheduled caste or scheduled tribes because their condition were not as bad as to be considered untouchable, yet they did not enjoy the social privileges such as equal rights to education, etc. They were socially, economically and educationally backward. These were the service providers like the craftsmen and artisan, but their place in the stratification ladder was pretty low. So the Indian Constitution also acknowledges that there are many other groups beside the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes that are victim of social disabilities. They are called backward classes, mainly on the social and educational level. The main feature of these groups is their cultural, educational and socio-economic backwardness. In fact, the social status of the OBCs was in the middle, neither as low as the scheduled caste or tribes nor anywhere near the forward caste. Since India is a multi-religious country, so it is not only that these backward classes are Hindu only, the other backward classes are in other religion as well and are behind the upper classes in terms of education, economic and social status. Thus, OBCs is an entirely separate group from the scheduled caste or scheduled tribes. In the part 16 of the Constitution, there is provision for other classes. In its clause 340, a commission was set up to study the state of these backward classes. The first Prime Minister of independent India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, set up Kaka Kalikar Commission that identified 2399 caste as other backward classes, which is 70% of the total population. It said that these classes were not in a position to come up on their own unless they were given the benefit of reservation by the government. They would not be able to join the mainstream of society. Later, the matter of OBCs became a state issue. In the beginning of 20th century, there was a long history of many movements in South India of the backward classes. They provided a forum to other backward classes in all other states. Thus, these movements spread all over the country. Once again, this became an issue of the central politics. The Janata Party was in power at that time. The then Union government took a serious note on Article 15 and 16 and appointed the second OBC Commission, commonly known as Mandal Commission. A lengthy debate followed the recommendation made by Mandal Commission, and the VP Singh government decided to implement the recommendations of Mandal Commission. On 13th August 1990, an official notification was issued to reserve 27% seats for OBCs in civil services. This was more of a political move rather than made for the welfare of the OBCs. Political parties were making their vote bank by including more and more caste for reservations. That's it with today's session. In tomorrow's session, we will talk about tribal life in India, Adivasi struggle, and major issue concerning Adivasi's problem. Till then, take care. Goodbye.